The penthouse windows stretched from floor to ceiling, revealing Los Angeles glittering below like scattered diamonds. But Naomi Hayes saw none of it. Her back pressed against the cool glass as Lim Wu Jin's hands framed her face, his thumbs tracing her cheekbones with a reverence that made her knees weak. 3 years, he whispered, his voice rough with emotion. 3 years I searched for you. 3 years of dreaming about the woman who saved my life, and you've been here all along. Naomi's breath caught as his forehead touched hers. She was still wearing the white silk robe from earlier, her wedding dress discarded somewhere in the suite. Her fingers clutched the fabric of his unbuttoned shirt, feeling his heartbeat racing beneath her palms. Wu Jin, we shouldn't, she managed, even as her body betrayed her, arching toward him. You were supposed to marry someone else today. His laugh was dark, almost broken. There was only ever you. From the moment you disappeared that night, you haunted every dream, every waking thought. His lips brushed against hers, featherlight, teasing. Tell me you don't feel this. Tell me I'm alone in this madness. She couldn't. God help her, she couldn't lie. Not when his mouth captured hers in a kiss that tasted of champagne and desperation and 3 years of longing finally unleashed. His hand slid into her hair, tilting her head back as he deepened the kiss, and Naomi melted against him, surrendering to the inevitable. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Wu Jin rested his forehead against the glass beside her head, caging her in with his arms. I need to know something, he said quietly. Tell me this is real. Tell me I didn't imagine what happened today. Naomi's fingers trembled as she traced the line of his jaw. It's real. All of it. But Wu Jin. Her voice cracked. I still don't know if this is the beginning of something beautiful or if I'm about to lose everything. He pulled back just enough to meet her eyes, and the intensity there stole her breath. Then let me show you, he murmured, before claiming her mouth again in a kiss that promised everything and demanded nothing less than her complete surrender. Before you find out how we got here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. And drop a comment telling me if you believe in love at first sight, because this story will test everything you thought you knew about fate. 6 months earlier, Naomi sat in her small office at Everlasting Events, mechanically arranging sample flowers that all looked the same to her now. White roses, peonies, baby's breath. She'd once loved the romance of weddings, believed in the promises couples made to each other. That was before Marcus sent her a text message 20 minutes before their ceremony saying he couldn't go through with it. Couldn't even say it to her face. Naomi. Her boss Melissa appeared in the doorway, her expression a careful mix of sympathy and business pragmatism. I have a new client. High profile, very high budget, and he's requested you specifically. Naomi looked up from the flowers she'd been shredding without realizing it. When's the wedding? 3 months. Melissa paused. And Naomi, he's asked for complete discretion. This isn't your typical client. Something in her boss's tone made Naomi straighten. What do you mean? You'll understand when you meet him. He's waiting at Hannock House. Private room. Already reserved. He said he'll explain everything. 2 hours later, Naomi walked into the upscale Korean restaurant, her portfolio clutched like a shield. A hostess led her through dimly lit corridors to a private room where a man sat alone, reviewing documents spread across the table. When he looked up, time seemed to slow. Lim Wu Jin was beautiful in a way that made her forget how to breathe. Sharp cheekbones, dark eyes that seemed to see straight through her, and an air of controlled power that filled the room. He stood immediately, and Naomi noticed he moved with the grace of someone who knew exactly how dangerous he could be. Miss Hayes. His voice was smooth, accented, mesmerizing. Thank you for meeting me. When their hands touched, electricity sparked up her arm. His handshake lingered a moment too long, and when she pulled away, his fingers seemed reluctant to let go. Please sit. He gestured to the cushioned seat across from him, waiting until she was settled before taking his own seat. Can I order you something? The bulgogi here is exceptional. I'm fine, thank you. Naomi opened her portfolio, trying to ignore the way his gaze followed her every movement. Mr. Lim, my boss mentioned you need a wedding planned. Why don't we start with the basics? Tell me about your fiancé, her style preferences, favorite colors, any specific theme she has in mind. His expression went cold so quickly it startled her. I haven't met her yet. Naomi's pen froze mid-air. I'm sorry. It's an arranged marriage. A business alliance between my family and the Park family in Seoul. He said it matter-of-factly, as if discussing a corporate merger rather than his life. She arrives from Korea in 2 months. The wedding is scheduled for 1 month after that. Oh. Naomi tried to keep her professional mask in place, but something must have shown on her face because Wu Jin leaned forward slightly. You find that unusual. It's not my place to judge, Mr. Lim. I'm here to plan whatever wedding you want. Wu Jin, he corrected softly. Please. Mr. Lim was my father. Something flickered in his eyes at the mention of his father, gone as quickly as it appeared. And to answer your question, yes, it's unusual. At least here in America. But my father's dying wish was that I honor our family traditions, strengthen our position through strategic alliance. So here we are. Here we are, Naomi echoed quietly. She understood duty, understood sacrifice. She'd spent years trying to be the perfect daughter, the perfect fiancée, and where had that gotten her? Standing alone at an altar in a dress that cost more than her car. Tell me, Miss Hayes. Wu Jin's voice dropped lower, more intimate. What do you want from this wedding? If you could plan anything, no restrictions, what would you create? The question caught her off guard. This isn't about what I want. It's about you and your bride. Indulge me. Naomi met his gaze and found herself unable to look away. I'd want it to mean something. Not just beautiful flowers and expensive champagne, but real emotion. Real connection. I'd want the couple to look at each other and know, absolutely know, that they're making the right choice. Silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken things. And what if they don't know? Wu Jin asked quietly. What if they're doing it for all the wrong reasons? Then I'd tell them not to do it at all. The words came out before Naomi could stop them. I'd tell them that life's too short to marry someone you don't love. Wu Jin's smile was sad, knowing. Spoken like someone who's been hurt. Takes one to know one. He laughed, and the sound transformed his entire face, making him look younger, less burdened. You're right about that. He poured them both tea from the pot on the table. There's one more thing we need to discuss. My business requires absolute discretion. Not just professional confidentiality, but complete privacy about everything. What we discuss, where we meet, every detail of this wedding and our interaction stays between us. Can I trust you, Naomi? The way he said her name sent shivers down her spine. Yes. Good. He raised his teacup. Then let's plan a wedding. Over the next 4 weeks, Naomi found herself thinking about Wu Jin far more than was professional or appropriate. Their meetings multiplied, each one lasting longer than necessary. They toured venues together, and she noticed how he watched her instead of the spaces. They tasted cakes, and when he fed her a bite of dark chocolate ganache, his fingers lingered at her lips just a moment too long. You have frosting, he murmured, his thumb brushing the corner of her mouth. Right there. Naomi's breath hitched. They were alone in the bakery's tasting room, surrounded by samples neither of them was paying attention to anymore. Wu Jin. Tell me to stop. His hand cupped her cheek, and she found herself leaning into his touch like a flower seeking sunlight. Tell me this is just business, and I'll never cross this line again. She should. God, she should. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, she whispered, What line? His eyes darkened. The one that says I shouldn't want to kiss you every time I see you. That I shouldn't stay awake at night imagining what you taste like, what sounds you'd make if he stopped himself, jaw clenching. This is madness. Then we're both mad. The admission escaped before Naomi could cage it back. Because I think about you too. All the time. Even though I know I shouldn't, even though you're engaged, even though this is wrong. He finished for her, but he was closer now, his breath warm against her face. It feels like the only right thing in my life. The bell above the bakery door chimed, signaling another customer. They sprang apart, the spell broken but not forgotten. Wu Jin paid for samples they'd barely touched, and they left in tense silence. That night, Naomi's phone buzzed. A text from Wu Jin, thank you for today. Sleep well. She stared at those 3 words for 10 minutes before typing back. You too. Another message came immediately. I won't. I'll be thinking about what almost happened. Her fingers trembled. Wu Jin, we can't. I know. But I am anyway. Good night, Naomi. She lay in bed, phone clutched to her chest, wondering how she'd let herself fall for a man who belonged to someone else. The next week, they met to choose flowers. Wu Jin picked up a white peony, holding it out to her. What's your favorite? This isn't about me. Everything's about you lately. The raw honesty in his voice made her heart stutter. Please. Tell me. Gardenias, she admitted quietly. They're fragrant, beautiful, but incredibly difficult. They need exact conditions to thrive. Wu Jin ordered 3 dozen gardenias added to the wedding arrangements. When Naomi protested about the expense and difficulty, he simply said, "Some things are worth the trouble." The air between them grew thicker with each passing day, charged with possibility and restrained by impossibility. They began texting late at night, conversations that started about wedding details and drifted into personal territory. He told her about growing up in Seoul, about the weight of expectations, about watching his father slowly die while extracting promises Wu Jin wasn't sure he could keep. She told him about Marcus, about standing alone in a wedding dress, about the moment she realized she'd been planning her life around someone who didn't actually love her. He was a fool, Wu Jin texted one night at 2 a.m. Any man who could walk away from you isn't worth your tears. You're walking toward a marriage with someone else while saying things like that to me. How is that different? The 3 typing dots appeared and disappeared several times before his response came. You're right. I'm a hypocrite. But I can't seem to stop. Then don't, she typed, then immediately deleted it. Instead she sent, we should keep this professional. We should, he agreed. We won't. He was right. 2 nights later, Wu Jin called to discuss menu changes. The conversation meandered through music choices, then his favorite books, then somehow to childhood dreams neither had fulfilled. I wanted to be a pianist, he confessed, his voice soft through the phone. Before my father's business, before duty, I used to play for hours. Lost myself in the music. Do you still play? Sometimes. Late at night when I can't sleep. When I'm trying not to think about things I can't have. Naomi's throat tightened. Wu Jin. I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't put this on you. He exhaled heavily. Naomi, can I ask you something? Anything. If things were different. If I wasn't engaged, if we'd met under normal circumstances, would you have given me a chance? She closed her eyes, tears sliding down her cheeks. Yes. God help me, yes. That's all I needed to know. His voice was rough with emotion. Thank you for being honest. Wu Jin, what are we doing? I don't know. But I can't seem to stop doing it. 3 weeks before the wedding, Wu Jin invited Naomi to dinner to finalize last-minute details. But when she arrived at the address he'd given her, it wasn't a restaurant at all. It was his penthouse. The same one where they'd end up 6 weeks later, pressed against windows, finally giving in to everything they'd been fighting. What is this? Naomi asked as he opened the door, revealing a space that was somehow both luxurious and intimate. Dinner. Like I promised. Wu Jin gestured inside. I wanted somewhere private where we could talk without interruption. Is that all right? She should say no. Should leave immediately. Instead, she walked inside. The dining table was set for 2, candles already lit, and music played softly in the background. Through the windows, LA sprawled in every direction, but Wu Jin only looked at her. I cooked, he said almost nervously. I hope you like Korean food. Real Korean food, not the Americanized version. You cooked. Naomi couldn't hide her surprise. I thought men like you had people for that. Men like me. His smile was teasing. What kind of man do you think I am? Powerful. Wealthy. Someone who doesn't need to do things for himself. Wu Jin moved closer, taking her coat. His fingers brushed her shoulders, and she felt that touch everywhere. Let me tell you what kind of man I really am, Naomi. I'm someone who lies awake at night thinking about a woman he can't have. Someone who finds excuses to extend every meeting, who memorizes the way she laughs and the exact shade of brown in her eyes. Someone who's planning his own wedding while falling hopelessly, stupidly in love with his wedding planner. The world stopped. Naomi stared at him, unable to process what she'd just heard. Wu Jin. I know. I know how impossible this is, how wrong, how complicated. But I needed you to know. Because in 3 weeks, I'm marrying someone I've never met, and I'll spend the rest of my life wondering what could have been if I'd just been honest. If I told you that you're the most extraordinary person I've ever met, and that every moment with you feels more real than anything else in my life. Tears blurred her vision. You can't say things like that. Why not? Because it makes it harder? Naomi, it's already impossible. I'm already destroyed. At least let me have this moment of truth. Truth. Her voice broke. You want truth? Fine. I think about you constantly. I dream about you. I wake up and for a moment, I forget that you belong to someone else, and I let myself imagine what it would be like if you were mine. And then I remember, and it breaks me all over again. That's the truth. Wu Jin closed the distance between them in 2 strides. His hands cupped her face, thumbs wiping away her tears. Then give me tonight. One night where we don't think about duty or consequences or impossible choices. Just us. Can you do that? She knew she'd regret this. Knew it would make everything harder. But she nodded anyway. Dinner was both the best and worst meal of Naomi's life. Wu Jin had made bulgogi, japchae, kimchi jjigae, each dish prepared with obvious care. They sat across from each other, knees occasionally touching under the table, and talked about everything except the wedding. He told her about his father, a man who'd built an empire from nothing but died too young, leaving Wu Jin to carry a legacy he'd never asked for. He made me promise on his deathbed. Strengthen the family through alliance with the Parks. Continue the traditions. Marry well. Wu Jin's laugh was bitter. He never asked if that's what I wanted. If I had different dreams. What did you want? Naomi asked softly. Something simple. A woman I loved. Children I could raise differently than I was raised. Maybe even a chance to play piano again without feeling guilty for wasting time. He met her eyes. What about you? What did you dream about before Marcus? I wanted to believe love was real. That someone could look at me and choose me, fully and completely, without reservations or second thoughts. She swirled the wine in her glass. I wanted the fairy tale, and I was naive enough to think I'd found it. You're not naive. You're hopeful. It's different. Hopeful is just another word for stupid in my case. Wu Jin reached across the table, capturing her hand. No. Hopeful means you haven't given up. That despite everything, you still believe in possibility. That's not stupid, Naomi. That's brave. His thumb traced circles on her palm, and she felt that simple touch in her soul. Wu Jin, what are we doing here? Really? Living. For one night, just living. He stood, pulling her up with him. Dance with me. There's no music. Then we'll make our own. He pulled her close, one hand on her waist, the other holding hers against his chest. They swayed together in the candlelight, no music but their breathing, no rhythm but their heartbeats synchronizing. I could stay here forever, Wu Jin murmured against her hair. In this moment, in this feeling. Forget everything else exists. Naomi tilted her head back to look at him. But we can't. I know. His hand slid up her back, holding her closer. But for tonight, can we pretend? She should push him away. Should remind him about his fiancé arriving in 2 weeks, about the wedding she was being paid to plan, about all the reasons this was wrong. Instead, she whispered, yes. When Wu Jin's lips met hers, it felt like coming home and jumping off a cliff simultaneously. The kiss was gentle at first, questioning, asking permission. Naomi answered by threading her fingers through his hair and pulling him deeper. He groaned against her mouth, the sound sending heat racing through her veins. Naomi, he breathed between kisses. If you want me to stop, tell me now. Because in another minute, I won't be able to. Don't stop. She punctuated the words with another kiss, this one fierce, claiming. Please don't stop. Wu Jin swept her up, carrying her to the couch. They collapsed together, his weight pressing her into the cushions as his mouth traced fire down her neck. His hands were everywhere, reverent and desperate, memorizing her through her clothes. You're so beautiful, he whispered against her collarbone. So perfect. I've imagined this so many times, but reality is. His words dissolved into another kiss that left them both gasping. Naomi's fingers worked at the buttons of his shirt, needing to feel his skin against hers. When she finally touched his bare chest, he shuddered. God! Naomi! What you do to me? Show me! She arched up against him. Show me what I do to you. Wu Jin's eyes went dark with desire, but even through the haze of want, something made him pause. He pressed his forehead to hers, breathing hard. Wait. Naomi, wait. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's too right, and that's the problem. He pulled back slightly, though it clearly cost him. If we do this, there's no going back. And in 2 weeks, I'm supposed to marry someone else. I can't. I won't do that to you. I won't make love to you knowing I can't give you everything you deserve. Tears stung her eyes again, but these were different. These were for the impossible beauty of a man who wanted her desperately but respected her more. Wu Jin. Let me be honest with you about something else. He sat up, pulling her with him, keeping her close but creating space for clarity. My business, my family's legacy, it's not exactly legal. I'm the head of the JOC, the Korean Organized Crime Syndicate in LA. We control gambling, protection, certain import operations. The Parks own the Seattle territory. This marriage was supposed to unite the West Coast operations. Naomi's mind reeled. You're telling me you're a crime boss? I'm telling you who I really am before this goes any further. I need you to know what you'd be getting involved with. His voice was steady, but she could see the fear in his eyes. I have legitimate businesses too, real estate, restaurants, but the core of my family's power comes from illegal operations. If we do this, if we pursue whatever this is between us, you need to understand the risks. People have tried to kill me, Naomi. They will try again. Anyone close to me becomes a target. She should run. Any sane person would run. But she'd stopped being sane the moment Wu Jin looked at her across that restaurant table 6 weeks ago. Why tell me this now? Because you deserve to make an informed choice. Because I'm falling in love with you, and I won't let you fall with me without knowing exactly how far the drop is. He cupped her face. So I'm giving you an out. Walk away now. Finish planning the wedding, take your payment, and forget about me. You'll be safe. You'll move on. And I'll live with the memory of what could have been. Naomi looked at this beautiful, broken, dangerous man who was offering her an escape even though it was clearly killing him. What if I don't want an out? Then you're either very brave or very foolish. Maybe I'm both. She kissed him softly. But I'm not running. Not tonight. Not yet. Relief flooded his features. Not yet, he agreed, pulling her close again. I'll take not yet. They spent the rest of the evening wrapped in each other, kissing until their lips were swollen, touching until every nerve ending sang, but never crossing that final line. When dawn began to lighten the sky, Wu Jin called for his driver to take Naomi home. Thank you, he said at the door, for tonight. For understanding. For not running. Yet, she reminded him. I haven't run yet. Yet, he echoed, pressing one last kiss to her forehead. I'll see you at the final venue walkthrough tomorrow? Wouldn't miss it. She turned to leave, then stopped. Wu Jin? What you told me about your business, about who you are. It doesn't change how I feel. His smile was beautiful and sad. That's what terrifies me. The next day, the bride arrived. Minji Park was everything a traditional Korean bride should be. Petite, lovely, demure, with a sweet smile and gentle manner. She stepped off the private plane with her family, and Wu Jin greeted them with perfect courtesy and no warmth whatsoever. Naomi watched from a distance, her heart fracturing with every polite bow, every formal greeting. This was real. This was actually happening. In 2 weeks, Wu Jin would marry this woman, and Naomi would orchestrate every detail of the ceremony that would destroy her. She's perfect, Melissa whispered beside her. Sweet, traditional, exactly what a man like him needs. Yes, Naomi forced out. Perfect. 2 days later, Naomi sat in a cafe with Wu Jin and Minji, finalizing the last details. Minji was excited, asking questions about flowers and music, oblivious to the tension crackling between the wedding planner and her fiancé. Miss Hayes, Wu Jin has told me how talented you are, Minji said warmly in accented English. I'm so grateful you're making our day special. It's my pleasure, Naomi lied, her smile feeling like it might crack her face. Under the table, Wu Jin's foot pressed against hers. She wanted to pull away, maintain some distance, but she couldn't. These small touches were all they had now. I need to use the restroom, Naomi announced abruptly, standing so fast she nearly knocked over her water glass. Excuse me. She made it to the bathroom and locked herself in a stall, fighting for composure. She would not cry. She would not break down. She was a professional, and she would finish this job even if it killed her. The bathroom door opened. Naomi. Wu Jin. Of course he'd followed her. She emerged from the stall, finding him leaning against the sinks. You can't be in here. I own this building. I can be wherever I want. He straightened. Talk to me. Please. What do you want me to say? That this is killing me? That watching you with her makes me want to scream. Her voice broke. She's perfect, Wu Jin. Sweet and traditional and exactly what your family wants. Exactly what you're supposed to want. She's not you. He closed the distance between them. She could be the most perfect woman in the world, and she still wouldn't be you. But she will be your wife. Naomi backed against the wall. In 2 weeks, you'll marry her, and this, whatever this is between us, it ends. I know. His hands pressed against the wall on either side of her head, caging her in. God, Naomi, I know. But I can't stop wanting you. Can't stop. He kissed her desperately, angrily, pouring all his frustration into the contact. Naomi kissed him back with equal fury, her fingers digging into his shoulders. This was wrong, so wrong, but she couldn't make herself care. We have to stop, she gasped when they broke apart. Wu Jin, we have to. I know. But he kissed her again anyway, softer this time, almost tender. I know. Footsteps in the hallway made them spring apart. Wu Jin straightened his tie while Naomi checked a reflection, both of them breathing hard. Go first, he said quietly. I'll wait a few minutes. Back at the table, Minji smiled up at them both, completely oblivious. Naomi wanted to hate her but couldn't. This wasn't Minji's fault. She was just a girl caught in the same trap as Wu Jin, different cage but same lack of choice. That night, Wu Jin showed up at Naomi's apartment. Rain poured down, soaking through his expensive suit. He looked wild, desperate, nothing like the controlled man she'd first met. I can't do this, he said the moment she opened the door. I can't marry her. Naomi's heart leaped and broke simultaneously. Wu Jin, you're soaking wet. Come inside. He stepped into her small apartment, water dripping onto her floor. I mean it, Naomi. I've been thinking about nothing else for days. I'll call it off, break the alliance, deal with whatever consequences come. I can't marry someone I don't love while being in love with you. You're drunk. I'm sober. More sober than I've been in years. He moved toward her, urgent. Naomi, 3 years ago, I was in a car accident. Someone ran a red light, T-boned my car. I should have died. The car was on fire, and I was trapped, bleeding, losing consciousness. Someone pulled me out. A woman. I never saw her face clearly, but I remember her hands, gentle and sure. She stayed with me until the ambulance came, then disappeared before I could thank her. Naomi felt the blood drain from her face. Wu Jin. I've been searching for her ever since. Hired investigators, checked hospital records, security footage, everything. I had nothing but fragments. Kind eyes. Soft voice telling me to hold on. And a burn scar on her right palm from where she grabbed hot metal to free me. He stepped closer. Show me your hands, Naomi. She hid them behind her back instinctively. This is crazy. Show me. His voice gentled. Please. Slowly, trembling, Naomi held out her right hand. There on her palm was a raised scar she'd gotten 3 years ago pulling a stranger from a burning car. She'd never mentioned it because it seemed too coincidental, too impossible. Wu Jin took her hand carefully, tracing the scar with shaking fingers. It was you. All this time I was searching, and the universe led me right back to you. The woman who saved my life is the woman I'm falling in love with. Tears streamed down Naomi's face. I didn't know it was you. I saw the accident, pulled over, helped who I could. You were unconscious when they loaded you into the ambulance. I gave my statement to police and left. I didn't know. Fate, Wu Jin whispered. It has to be fate. Out of millions of people in LA, I hired you to plan my wedding. You saved my life once already, Naomi. Now you're saving it again just by existing. What do we do? She was crying harder now, overwhelmed. Wu Jin, what do we do? He pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Come with me. Right now. We'll leave LA, start over somewhere new. I have money, resources. We can disappear. And your family? The alliance? Everything your father wanted. I'll find another way to honor him. But I won't sacrifice my life, my happiness. Not when I've finally found the woman I'm meant to be with. Naomi wanted to say yes. God, she wanted to. But reality crashed back in. You'd resent me eventually. You'd give up everything for me, and one day you'd wake up and wonder if I was worth it. If destroying your father's legacy, breaking promises, starting a potential war between families was worth one woman. You're not just one woman. You're the woman. The only one who matters. Today you believe that. But what about in 5 years? 10. She pulled back to look at him. Wu Jin, I won't be the reason you throw away everything. I can't. So what, we just give up? Accept the inevitable and spend the rest of our lives wondering what if? We don't have a choice. There's always a choice. But he sounded defeated, broken. Naomi, please. Her phone rang. Melissa. Probably about wedding details. The intrusion of reality was cruel and perfect timing. The wedding is in 10 days, Naomi said quietly. You need to go. Make your peace with this. Marry Minji, honor your commitments, live the life you're supposed to live. And you? I'll survive. I always do. She was lying. They both knew it. Please, Wu Jin. If you care about me at all, go. He stood there for a long moment, rain still dripping from his clothes, looking at her like he was memorizing every detail. Then he kissed her forehead, soft and heartbreaking. If things were different. But they're not. No. They're not. He walked to the door, paused with his hand on the knob. For what it's worth, Naomi, you would have been worth it. Worth breaking every promise, burning every bridge, starting every war. You would have been worth everything. Then he was gone, and Naomi collapsed on her couch, sobbing into her hands. The week before the wedding was torture. Naomi threw herself into final preparations, checking and rechecking every detail. The ceremony would be perfect. Beautiful. A flawless fusion of Korean tradition and American elegance. She'd make sure Wu Jin's wedding was everything it should be, even if it destroyed her. Wu Jin maintained professional distance, communicating through texts and emails. But late at night, messages would come that had nothing to do with weddings. I miss you. I dream about you. In another life, we would have been perfect. Naomi never responded to those messages, but she read them over and over until she had them memorized. 3 days before the wedding, someone knocked on her apartment door at 11 p.m. Naomi opened it to find Minji standing there, looking small and uncertain. Miss Hayes? May I come in? Of course. Naomi stepped aside, confused. Is everything all right? Did something happen with the wedding preparations? Minji walked into the apartment, looked around the small space, then turned to face Naomi with surprising composure. I need to talk to you about Wu Jin. Naomi's heart stopped. I don't understand. Yes, you do. Minji's English was careful but clear. I've been watching you both for the past week. The way he looks at you when he thinks no one sees. The way you look at him when you think I'm not paying attention. The way you both look so sad all the time. Minji, I can explain. No need. Minji sat down on Naomi's couch. I knew before I even came here that this marriage was business arrangement. My family explained very clearly. Wu Jin and I would marry to unite territories, strengthen both families. There would be respect but not love. I accepted this because it's our way. Then why are you here? Because I thought I could accept loveless marriage. Many people do. But then I saw Wu Jin with you, and I realized something. Minji's eyes were kind, understanding. Love exists. Real love. The kind worth fighting for. And if it exists, how can I marry a man who will spend rest of his life wishing he'd chosen differently? Naomi sat down heavily. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Because I deserve love too. Maybe not with Wu Jin, but somewhere. Someone. And he deserves to be happy with woman he actually loves. Minji reached out, taking Naomi's hand. I called my parents today. Told them I'm going home to Korea. Wedding is cancelled. You can't. The alliance, both families will be disappointed. Angry. But they'll survive. Minji smiled sadly. My mother was in arranged marriage. She learned to love my father over time, but she once told me she always wondered about boys she loved when she was young. She doesn't want that for me. When I told her about you and Wu Jin, she said sometimes honoring a promise means knowing when to break it. Naomi couldn't process this. Minji, I don't know what to say. Say you love him. Say you'll make him happy. That's all I need to know. I love him. The words came easily, truthfully. I love him so much it terrifies me. Good. Terror means it's real. Minji stood. I'm leaving tomorrow. My family will make formal announcement in 2 days. Wedding is cancelled. What you do with that information is up to you. She walked to the door, then turned back. Miss Hayes? Thank you for planning beautiful wedding. Maybe someday I'll have one of my own. One where groom looks at me the way Wu Jin looks at you. After Minji left, Naomi sat in stunned silence. The wedding was cancelled. Wu Jin was free. They could be together. But at what cost? She tried to call Wu Jin. No answer. Texted. Nothing. Sent email. No response. The next day, Melissa called. Naomi, I just got notification. Park family withdrew from wedding. They've released Wu Jin from the arrangement. Effective immediately. I know. You know. How? Understanding dawned. Oh, Naomi. Is Wu Jin all right? I've been trying to reach him. His office said he's in emergency meetings. Something about family business. I didn't get details. But Naomi, this is good news, right? For you. I don't know. I hope so. That evening, Wu Jin finally called. Naomi, can you come to my office? We need to talk. 30 minutes later, she walked into his office building, was escorted to the top floor, and found Wu Jin standing by his windows, looking out at the city. The wedding's off, she said. Yes. He didn't turn around. Minji's family was surprisingly understanding. Her mother sent a message saying she respected the choice. Hoped I found happiness. My uncle is less pleased. Your uncle? Gene Park. My father's brother. Second in command of our organization. He was counting on this alliance to expand operations. Without it, he's questioning my leadership. Wu Jin finally turned to face her, and Naomi gasped. He had a bruise on his cheek, split lip. We had a discussion about my priorities. He hit you. He said I was weak. Letting a woman destroy years of planning. Putting personal feelings above family legacy. Wu Jin's smile was bitter. Maybe he's right. He's not. Naomi crossed to him, gently touching his injured face. Wu Jin, you're the strongest person I know. Standing up for what you want, for who you love, that's not weakness. That's courage. He caught her hand, holding it against his cheek. My uncle's planning something. I don't know what yet, but he's been too quiet since our confrontation. He's gathering support, making alliances of his own. What does that mean? It means things might get dangerous. For me, for anyone close to me. His eyes bored into hers. That's why I called you here. To tell you that you're right. We can't be together. Not now. Maybe not ever. Because I won't put you at risk just because I can't control my feelings. No. The word came out fierce. You don't get to make that choice for me. Not now. Not after everything. Naomi. I love you. She'd said it to Minji but not to him. Time to fix that. I'm in love with you, Wu Jin. Completely. Irrationally. And yes, your world is dangerous. Yes, there might be consequences. But I'm not running. I already told you that. You don't understand the risks. Then explain them to me. All of them. Stop trying to protect me and just be honest. Wu Jin pulled her close, and she felt him trembling. My uncle won't accept this. He'll see you as weakness he can exploit. He might try to hurt me. Other families might do the same. You could be kidnapped, used as leverage. You could be killed just for being the woman I love. Okay. He pulled back, staring at her. Okay. That's it? I just told you people might try to kill you, and you say okay? What do you want me to say? That I'm scared? I am. Terrified. But I'm more scared of living without you. Of wondering what could have been. Of playing it safe and ending up alone again. She cupped his face carefully, avoiding his bruises. You're worth the risk, Wu Jin. We're worth the risk. You're insane. Probably. She kissed him softly. But I'm your kind of insane. He laughed, the sound shaky but genuine, and kissed her back. This kiss was different from all the others. No desperation, no stolen moments, no hiding. This was promise and possibility and choosing each other despite everything. Marry me, Wu Jin whispered against her lips. What? Marry me. Not in 3 weeks with 500 guests and political alliances. Marry me next week with our closest friends and a commitment that actually means something. He pulled back to look at her. I don't want to wait anymore, Naomi. I don't want to waste another day pretending we're not meant to be together. If you're loving this story, don't forget to like this video and comment below telling me what you think will happen next. Will Naomi say yes? Will Wu Jin's uncle make his move? Keep watching to find out. Yes. Naomi was crying again, but these were happy tears. Yes, I'll marry you. He swept her up, spinning her around, both of them laughing like teenagers instead of adults navigating dangerous criminal politics. The next few days passed in a blur of happiness tinged with underlying tension. Wu Jin insisted Naomi move into his penthouse for safety. She packed a bag while his security team swept her apartment for any surveillance devices or threats. Is this really necessary? She asked as 4 armed men searched her tiny studio. My uncle knows about you now. He'll be watching. Wu Jin pulled her close, speaking quietly. I need to know you're safe. Please. For my peace of mind. She agreed, and that's how she ended up in the same penthouse where this story began. Waking up next to Wu Jin, planning a real wedding, one based on love instead of obligation. But danger lurked closer than either of them realized. 2 days after moving in, Wu Jin's head of security, Ji Hoon-ae, arrived with grim news. Sir, we have confirmed movement from your uncle. He's been meeting with the Seattle faction, the Russians, even some Mexican cartel representatives. He's building coalition. Against me. Wu Jin's voice was cold, controlled. Against your leadership. He's arguing you've gone soft, that personal relationships compromise business decisions. He's calling for vote of no confidence. Naomi watched Wu Jin's face harden. This was the man people feared, the crime boss instead of the gentle lover she knew. When? Council meets in 3 days. If he gets majority support, they can force you out. Or try to. Wu Jin's smile was dangerous. Set up meetings with every council member. I'll remind them why my father chose me as successor. After Ji Hoon-ae left, Wu Jin turned to Naomi. This is what I meant about danger. My uncle won't just take my position. He'll eliminate any threats to his power. That includes you. Then we face it together. Isn't that what we decided? I'm scared, Naomi. Not for myself. For you. I've faced down rival gangs, survived assassination attempts, negotiated with some of the most dangerous people in the world. But the thought of someone hurting you terrifies me in ways nothing else ever has. She wrapped her arms around him. I'm scared too. But I trust you. Trust us. The next 2 days were intense. Wu Jin met with council members, made promises, called in favors. Naomi stayed in the penthouse, guarded by Ji Hoon-ae's men, feeling like a princess in a tower. Except her prince was fighting dragons that might actually win. The night before the council meeting, Wu Jin came home exhausted. Naomi had dinner waiting, candles lit, trying to create normalcy in their abnormal situation. How did it go? She asked as he collapsed on the couch. Mixed. 3 council members are definitely with me. 3 are with my uncle. The remaining 2 are undecided. He rubbed his face tiredly. Tomorrow will determine everything. Naomi sat beside him, running her fingers through his hair. Tell me about your father. What was he like? Wu Jin leaned into her touch. Strong. Brilliant. Absolutely terrifying when he needed to be. But with me he was gentle. Taught me piano, told me stories about Korea, promised me that someday I could choose my own path. Then he got sick, and dying changed him. Suddenly all that mattered was legacy, tradition, continuing the family line the right way. Do you think he'd approve of me? I think he'd love you. You're strong, smart, loyal. Everything he valued. Wu Jin pulled her onto his lap, holding her close. And if he didn't, I wouldn't care. You're my choice, Naomi. My father made his choices. This is mine. They made love that night slowly, tenderly, holding each other like the world might end tomorrow. Because it might. Wu Jin mapped every inch of her skin like he was memorizing her, whispered promises against her throat, made her forget everything except the two of them in this moment. I love you, he breathed as they moved together. Whatever happens tomorrow, whatever comes next, remember that I love you. I love you too. Naomi held him tighter, closer, needing him like air. Always. Afterward, they lay tangled together, neither willing to sleep and waste precious time. Wu Jin traced patterns on her bare shoulder, his touch feather-light. What are you thinking? Naomi asked. That I want to marry you. Tomorrow. Before the council meeting. He propped himself up on one elbow to look at her. If things go wrong, if my uncle succeeds, I want to know you're my wife. That at least I had that. That's the least romantic proposal I've ever heard. But she was smiling. Marry me. Naomi Hayes. Not because tomorrow might be dangerous, but because right now is perfect. Because I want to start every day for the rest of my life seeing your face. Because you're the best decision I've ever made, and I want it official before I face down my enemies. Now that's better. She kissed him. Yes. Let's get married tomorrow. They called Naomi's best friend Kesha and Wu Jin's cousin Min, the only family member he trusted completely. At 8 a.m. the next morning, 4 people stood in the penthouse living room while a judge Wu Jin knew performed a simple ceremony. Naomi wore a white dress she'd grabbed from her closet, nothing fancy. Wu Jin wore slacks and a button-down shirt, also simple. But when he slipped the ring on her finger and said, I do, Naomi felt like the luckiest woman alive. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Wu Jin kissed her softly, reverently, and for a moment, everything else faded away. They were just a man and woman promising forever. Congratulations, Mrs. Lim, he murmured against her lips. That's going to take getting used to. You have the rest of our lives to practice. 2 hours later, Wu Jin left for the council meeting. Naomi wanted to go with him, but he insisted she stay at the penthouse with protection. This is internal business. No outsiders, not even wives. I'll be back soon. Promise. Promise. He kissed her one more time. I love you, wife. I love you too, husband. Be careful. He left with Ji Hoon-ae and 3 other guards. Naomi paced the penthouse, unable to sit still. Kesha had stayed to keep her company, but nothing helped the anxiety eating at her. He'll be fine, Kesha said for the 10th time. Wu Jin's smart. He'll talk his way through this. Or his uncle will kill him and take over by force. Naomi couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. This was too easy. Why would his uncle call for a vote instead of just eliminating Wu Jin? Because murder of sitting boss would turn everyone against him? Not if he made it look like accident. Or self-defense. Or, Naomi stopped. It's a trap. The council meeting is a trap. She tried calling Wu Jin. Straight to voicemail. Tried Ji Hoon-ae. Same thing. Kesha, I need to get to that meeting. Wu Jin said to stay here where it's safe. And Wu Jin might be walking into an ambush right now. Naomi grabbed her phone, keys, jacket. I'm going. You can stay or come, but I'm going. You're insane. Also, I'm definitely coming. Someone needs to keep you from getting killed. They made it to the parking garage before Wu Jin's guard stopped them. Mrs. Lim, you need to stay in the penthouse. I need to get to my husband. Now move or I'll move you. The guard smiled slightly. Boss said you'd try this. He also said to tell you he loves you and not to worry. When did he say that? About 30 seconds ago. He called from the car. The guard held out his phone, showing an active call. Wu Jin's voice came through the speaker. Naomi, I know you're panicking. I know you think this is a trap. But I need you to trust me. Stay at the penthouse. Let me handle this. Please. Wu Jin, I have a bad feeling. So do I. That's why I have 12 guards instead of 4, and we're approaching the meeting location with full tactical preparation. I'm not walking in blind. His voice softened. I just married the woman I love. I'm not dying today. I promise you. You can't promise that. Watch me. I'll be home in 3 hours. We'll celebrate properly. Just please stay safe. For me. Reluctantly, Naomi agreed. The guard escorted her and Kesha back to the penthouse. 3 hours felt like 3 years. Naomi checked her phone constantly, jumped at every sound, wore a path in the carpet with her pacing. Finally, her phone rang. Wu Jin. It's done, he said, and she could hear the exhaustion in his voice. Council voted. 7-2 in my favor. My uncle's been removed from his position, exiled from LA operations. Thank God. Are you okay? I'm fine. Better than fine. I'm coming home to my wife. The smile in his voice was clear. Start thinking about where you want to go for our honeymoon. Just come home safe. That's all I want. 20 minutes. I love you. I love you too. Naomi hung up, relief flooding through her. It was over. They'd survived. Wu Jin had won, and now they could actually start their life together. 15 minutes later, Wu Jin's car pulled into the building's underground garage. Naomi watched from the penthouse security feed, seeing him exit the vehicle with Ji Hoon-ae. They were talking, probably about next steps, about consolidating power, about the future. Then everything went wrong. 3 cars screeched into the garage from different entrances, blocking exits. Men poured out, armed with automatic weapons. Wu Jin's guards immediately returned fire, but they were outnumbered. No! Naomi screamed at the screen. No, no, no! Kesha grabbed her phone, dialing 911. The penthouse guards were already moving, weapons drawn, coordinating with the security team downstairs. On the screen, Naomi watched Wu Jin take cover behind his car, gun in hand. He was shooting back, protecting Ji Hoon-ae, who was injured and down. This wasn't supposed to happen. He'd won. They'd won. One of the attackers threw something. Grenade. The explosion rocked the garage, and the security feed cut out. Wu Jin. Naomi was running for the door before she'd consciously decided to move. Guards tried to stop her, but she was beyond reason. Let me go. He needs me. Mrs. Lim, you'll be killed. I don't care. She fought against them. He's down there. My husband is down there. The building's fire alarm started blaring. Smoke detectors triggered by the explosion. Through the penthouse windows, Naomi could see emergency vehicles arriving, police cars, fire trucks, ambulances. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Mrs. Lim. The voice was cold, accented. Wu Jin's uncle. Your husband made a mistake today. He thought the council vote would protect him. But I don't need the council's permission. I have something much more persuasive. Where is he? What did you do? He's alive. For now. Whether he stays that way depends on you. Naomi's blood ran cold. What do you want? Come to the address I'm sending you. Alone. If you bring police, if you tell his guards, if you try anything clever, I'll send you pieces of your husband until there's nothing left to love. How do I know he's really alive? A moment later, a video message came through. Wu Jin, bloodied and bound to a chair in what looked like a warehouse. His face was swollen, one eye nearly shut, but he was conscious. And angry. Naomi, don't, he said into the camera. Don't come. He'll kill you anyway. Just run. Please run. The video cut off. Another message. 1 hour. Come alone or he dies screaming. Naomi looked at Kesha, at the guards, at the organized chaos of the penthouse. Everyone was focused on the garage, on coordinating with emergency services, on securing the building. No one was watching her closely. "I have to go," she said quietly. "Naomi, no." Kesha grabbed her arm. "You heard Wu Jin. This is a trap." "Of course it's a trap. But he's my husband. I'm not leaving him." Naomi pulled away, heading for her purse. She'd seen Wu Jin keep a small pistol there, had watched him show her how to use it, just in case. "You don't even know where he is. He's sending me the address. And I'm going." Naomi found the gun, checked that it was loaded like Wu Jin had taught her. Her hands were shaking but her voice was steady. "Kesha, I love you. If something happens to me, tell my parents I'm sorry. Tell them I chose love, and I'd choose it again." "This is insane." "Probably. But he's worth it." Naomi grabbed her jacket. "Give me a 10-minute head start, then tell the guards. That way they can track my phone, follow me, but I'll already be there." "Naomi." 10 minutes. "Promise me." Kesha's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. 10 minutes. "Then I'm sending an army after you." Naomi slipped out through the service entrance while everyone was distracted. The address came through on her phone. An abandoned warehouse by the docks. Perfect place for a murder. She called an Uber, which felt absurdly normal given the circumstances. During the 20-minute drive, Naomi thought about everything that had led to this moment. 6 months ago, she was planning someone else's wedding, heartbroken and closed off. Now she was driving toward possible death to save the man she loved. Strange how life worked. The warehouse loomed in the darkness, broken windows reflecting moonlight. Naomi paid the Uber driver, waited until he pulled away, then approached the building. The gun felt heavy in her jacket pocket. "I'm here," she called out. "I came alone like you asked. Let me see my husband." A door opened, and 2 armed men emerged. They searched her roughly, found the gun immediately. "Stupid girl," one of them muttered, pocketing it. "Did you really think that would help?" They dragged her inside. The warehouse was mostly empty except for support columns and years of dust. In the center, under a single hanging light, Wu Jin was still tied to that chair. When he saw her, his expression crumbled. "No," he whispered. "Naomi. No. Why did you come?" "Because I love you, you idiot." She tried to go to him, but the guards held her back. "Because you're my husband and I'm not losing you." How touching. Jean Park emerged from the shadows, impeccably dressed despite the warehouse setting. True love. Star-crossed romance. All very beautiful. And very foolish. "You have me," Naomi said. "Let him go." Jean Park laughed. "Let him go? Why would I do that? You're both loose ends now. The council may have voted for Wu Jin today, but tomorrow when they find his body along with his new wife's, they'll be much more amenable to new leadership. Especially when I explain how he died trying to save you from a rival gang. Tragic. Heroic. Perfect. You won't get away with this." Wu Jin's voice was rough but defiant. "My people know you're behind this. Suspicion isn't proof. And dead men make poor witnesses." Jean Park pulled out a gun, aimed it casually at Wu Jin's head. "Any last words to your bride?" "I love you," Wu Jin said, looking only at Naomi. "I'm sorry I couldn't give you forever. You gave me enough." Tears streamed down her face. "I'd choose you again. Every time." Jean Park's finger tightened on the trigger. And then the world exploded into chaos. Flashbang grenades detonated throughout the warehouse, blinding everyone. Tactical teams poured in from every entrance, red laser sights cutting through the smoke. Ji Hoonei's voice boomed over a megaphone. "Drop your weapons. You're surrounded." Jean Park's men opened fire. The warehouse became a war zone, bullets ricocheting off metal supports, muzzle flashes lighting the darkness. Naomi hit the ground, covering her head as the battle raged around her. Through the chaos, she heard Wu Jin shouting her name. She crawled toward him, glass and concrete cutting her palms. Someone grabbed her ankle, pulling her back. One of Jean Park's men, weapon raised. Naomi kicked out instinctively, connecting with his knee. He stumbled, and she scrambled away, reaching Wu Jin's chair. His bonds were thick zip ties, cutting into his wrists. "The knife!" Wu Jin gasped. "My boot!" Inside my boot. Naomi found it, a small tactical blade. Her hands shook as she cut through the ties. The moment Wu Jin was free, he pulled her behind him, shielding her with his body. We need to move, he said urgently. Stay low, follow me. They ran doubled over, using the support columns for cover. Bullets whizzed past. Someone screamed. The tactical team was advancing, systematically taking down Jin Park's men, but it was still chaos. There. Wu Jin pointed to a side door. They were almost there when Jin Park appeared in front of them, gun raised. You're not leaving, he snarled. If I die here, you die with me. He aimed at Naomi. Wu Jin moved to intercept. And in that frozen moment, Naomi saw everything clearly. Wu Jin was willing to die for her. Had always been willing. Just as she'd been willing to die for him. But they weren't dying today. Ji Hoonei's shot came from behind them, precise and lethal. Jin Park dropped, the gun falling from his hand. Wu Jin caught Naomi as her knees gave out, holding her as she shook. It's over, he whispered into her hair. It's over. You're safe. We're safe. You could have been killed. You stepped in front of a gun for me. Of course I did. You're my wife. He pulled back to look at her face, checking for injuries. Are you hurt? No. Scared. But not hurt. She touched his face, his bruises, his split lip. You look terrible. He laughed, the sound slightly hysterical. You look perfect. As always. Police poured into the warehouse now, along with more of Wu Jin's security team. Ji Hoonei appeared beside them, limping but alive. Boss. Ma'am. We need to get you both to the hospital. I'm fine, Wu Jin insisted. You have 3 cracked ribs and a concussion, Ji Hoonei said flatly. Hospital. Nah. That's an order from your wife. Naomi nodded. He's right. Hospital. Since when do you outrank me in my own organization? Since I married you. Didn't you read the fine print? Despite everything, Wu Jin smiled. Best contract I ever signed. The hospital was a blur of x-rays, stitches, and worried doctors. Wu Jin's injuries looked worse than they were. Cracked ribs, concussion, various cuts and bruises, but nothing permanent. Nothing that wouldn't heal. Naomi had minor cuts on her hands and knees, treated and bandaged. As dawn broke over Los Angeles, they sat together in Wu Jin's private hospital room, holding hands, still processing that they were alive. I thought I'd lost you, Wu Jin said quietly. When I saw you walk into that warehouse, I wanted to kill you myself for taking that risk. Funny. I felt the same way when I saw you on that video. We're idiots. Matched set. Naomi leaned her head on his shoulder carefully, mindful of his injuries. What happens now? Now? The council will need to meet again. Jin Park had supporters who'll need to be dealt with. There's consolidation, restructuring, probably some territorial disputes to settle. He paused. Or I could walk away. Naomi lifted her head. What? I've been thinking. My father wanted me to honor his legacy, but maybe the best way to do that is to transform it. I have legitimate businesses, real estate holdings, enough money that we'd never want for anything. I could leave the illegal operations to someone else. Start fresh. You'd give it all up? I'd give up the parts that put you in danger. The parts that almost got us killed tonight. Wu Jin turned to face her fully. You asked me once if I'd resent you for making me choose. I won't. Because this isn't you making me choose. This is me deciding what matters. And what matters is building a life with you that doesn't involve shootouts in warehouses. Wu Jin. I'm not saying I'll abandon everything. The family businesses, the legitimate operations, I'll still run those. But the criminal enterprise? Let someone else take that weight. I'm done. Naomi searched his face, looking for doubt or regret. She found only certainty. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything except marrying you. He kissed her gently. So yes, I'm sure. Over the next few weeks, Wu Jin made good on his promise. He transferred control of the illegal operations to his cousin Min, someone he trusted to run things ethically within the constraints of their world. He focused on the legitimate businesses, real estate development, restaurant chains, import companies that actually imported legal goods. Some people called him weak. Said love had made him soft. Wu Jin didn't care. He came home every night to Naomi, and that was worth more than all the power in the world. Naomi started her own wedding planning company, using her experience and Wu Jin's connections to build something beautiful. She specialized in non-traditional weddings, couples who wanted ceremonies that actually reflected their love instead of their family's expectations. 6 months after that nightmare in the warehouse, they had their real wedding. Not the business arrangement they'd originally planned, not the hurried courthouse ceremony, but a celebration of their love. Small, intimate, just friends and family who supported them. Naomi wore a dress she designed herself, white silk with gardenias woven into her hair. Wu Jin wore a traditional Korean hanbok, honoring his heritage while building a new tradition. When they exchanged vows, there wasn't a dry eye in attendance. I promise to choose you, Wu Jin said, every day for the rest of our lives. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I promise to be worth choosing, Naomi replied. To stand beside you through whatever comes. To save your life as many times as necessary. They kissed, and their guests erupted in applause. It was perfect. Everything a wedding should be. That night, back in the penthouse that had become their home, Wu Jin and Naomi stood at those floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city they'd nearly died in and chosen to live in anyway. Do you ever regret it? Naomi asked. Giving up so much for me? Every day, Wu Jin said, and when she looked at him in shock, he smiled. I regret that I didn't find you sooner. That we wasted time fighting this. That you went through heartbreak with Marcus before you found me. But choosing you? Choosing us? Never. Not once. Not ever. He pulled her close, kissing her with a passion and tenderness that had become their normal. You're my greatest adventure, Naomi Lim. My best decision. My favorite risk. I love you, she whispered against his lips. I love you more. Impossible. Watch me prove it for the next 60 years. They made love that night with the city lights as witness, taking their time, savoring each touch and kiss. When they finally fell asleep tangled together, Naomi dreamed of the future instead of the past. Of children who would have Wu Jin's eyes and her determination. Of growing old together, still choosing each other every single day. But as she drifted off, something niggled at the back of her mind. A detail she'd forgotten. A loose end. 3 time zones away, a woman stepped off a plane in Seoul. Minji Park, the bride who'd walked away, looked at her phone where a message waited from an unknown number. The plan worked perfectly. Wu Jin believes I left by choice. He has no idea I was paid to disappear. When do I get the second half of my payment? Minji deleted the message without responding. Some secrets were better kept buried. She'd done what she'd been hired to do, gotten the naive crime boss to fall for his wedding planner, created the weakness that was supposed to be exploited. That it had ended with Jin Park dead and Wu Jin happy wasn't her problem. But as she climbed into a waiting car, Minji wondered if she'd made a mistake. If walking away from Wu Jin had been the right choice or the greatest regret of her life. She'd been paid well to break an engagement she'd never wanted. But watching Wu Jin look at Naomi the way he'd never looked at her had stung more than expected. Are you all right, miss? The driver asked. Fine, Minji lied. Just tired. As the car pulled away from the airport, her phone buzzed again. Another message from that unknown number. Don't get comfortable. The game isn't over. It's just beginning. Minji's blood ran cold. What had she gotten herself into? And more importantly, were Wu Jin and Naomi truly safe, or had she left them in more danger than anyone realized? Back in Los Angeles, Naomi's eyes flew open. That detail. That niggling feeling. She sat up carefully, not wanting to wake Wu Jin. Something about Minji's departure had always felt too convenient. Too perfectly timed. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message from an unknown international number. Congratulations on the wedding. Such a beautiful love story. Pity it was manufactured. Sleep well, Mrs. Lim. We'll be in touch. The message deleted itself 3 seconds later. Naomi's hands shook as she stared at her blank screen. Who sent that? What did manufactured mean? Was their entire relationship some kind of setup? No. That was impossible. What she felt for Wu Jin was real. What they'd survived together was real. Nothing could be manufactured about that level of emotion, that depth of connection. Could it? She looked at Wu Jin sleeping beside her, bruises finally fading, peaceful for the first time in months. Should she wake him? Tell him about the message? Or was she being paranoid, seeing threats where none existed? Before she could decide, her phone buzzed again. This time a photo. Naomi and Wu Jin at their first meeting, taken from an angle that suggested hidden camera. Another photo. Their first kiss in the bakery. Another. Wu Jin's penthouse, the dinner they'd shared, intimate moments that should have been private. Someone had been watching them from the beginning. The final message came through. Your love story was perfect. Too perfect. Because we wrote every scene. You're welcome. But now it's time for Act 2, and we promise, it's going to be much more interesting. Talk soon. Naomi. And don't bother showing Wu Jin these messages. We'll know. And the consequences won't be pleasant. Sweet dreams. This time when the message is deleted, Naomi's phone screen cracked, a spider web of fractures spreading from the center as if something had struck it from inside. Naomi set the phone down carefully, heart pounding. Someone was playing games. Someone powerful enough to orchestrate events without being detected. Someone who considered Wu Jin and Naomi pieces on a board rather than people. And they weren't done playing. She looked at Wu Jin again, watching him sleep, and made a decision. She wouldn't tell him. Not yet. Because he just found peace, just started building the life he wanted. She'd protect that peace for as long as possible. Would investigate quietly, carefully, without alerting whoever was behind this. But as first light crept across Los Angeles and Wu Jin stirred beside her, reaching for her even in sleep, Naomi wondered. How do you fight an enemy you can't see? How do you protect a love that someone else might have designed? And most terrifying of all, what happens when the puppet discovers their strings? Wu Jin's eyes opened, finding hers immediately. Good morning, wife. Why are you awake so early? Just thinking. She kissed him, trying to pour all her love and fear and determination into that simple contact. About how much I love you. About our future. Good thoughts, I hope. The best. She was lying. They both knew it. But sometimes love means lying to protect each other. Go back to sleep. We have all the time in the world. But as Wu Jin drifted off again, Naomi stared at her cracked phone screen and wondered, did they really have all the time in the world? Or was their clock already counting down to something neither of them could see coming? The story of how a wedding planner married the groom she was supposed to help wed another woman wasn't over. It was only just beginning. And somewhere in the shadows, someone was watching. Waiting. Planning their next move in a game that Wu Jin and Naomi didn't even know they were playing. If you made it to the end of this story, thank you for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe for part 2 because trust me, you're going to want to know what happens next. Drop a comment telling me what you think is really going on. Is someone manipulating Wu Jin and Naomi's relationship? Is Minji working for someone else? And who sent those messages? Let me know your theories below. Until next time, remember that sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones that fight back against the people trying to write their ending. Part 2 coming soon. You won't want to miss it.